President of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, has given writer-director Rian Johnson a blank check and the keys to the kingdom. It'll be the first time that a lone artist shows a megacorporation how to make a successful film, and that's pretty amazing. Imagine a blockbuster film without writing teams, focus groups, or overbearing, ego-inflated producers. But first, let's take a look at how Hollywood sold out, because it wasn't always this way. In the 90s, you might have seen a flood of direct-to-video remakes of popular Disney films, and they were all terrible. CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Michael Eisner, mistakenly thought he cracked the code. After the success of The Lion King, he created what is known as the Lion King formula. The formula was created, and this spawned the dark age of Disney. From an internal memo, Michael Eisner says this: "We have no obligation to make history. We have no obligation to make art. We have no obligation to make a statement. To make money is our only objective."
It is a business, and there's a lot of money involved, and that can sometimes corrupt anything. And I think that the only thing we can do is hope that good, well-meaning people get involved in the business and try to make stories, because this is an extremely powerful medium, and those stories can reach a vast number of people, and I think that that is a huge responsibility.
Kathleen Kennedy is infamous for being sharply critical of her directors, which leads us to the whole point of this video: why this film is going to change everything. For the first time ever, an indie director has been given a Hollywood budget and the freedom to finally walk away from the constraints of boring formula filmmaking. But what about our Disney overlords? How do we know Disney isn't going to screw this up? Isn't Disney going to just turn Lucasfilm into another Marvel? Well, not really. Marvel is primarily run by one guy, Kevin Feige. He has the next 20 years of Marvel films mapped out in his head. His ridiculous knowledge of the Marvel Universe is what maintains the continuity between all of the films, but also keeps the films looking and feeling mostly the same. Another Disney company, Pixar, is run completely differently. Directors at Pixar have full control over their films. People, including the producers, which outrank directors, usually, can submit feedback and suggestions. But they stay just that, suggestions. That's pretty awesome. They let their directors direct. Lucasfilm is going to be even more hands-off. And maybe that's what got Lucasfilm into some trouble. Look at the directors Kathleen Kennedy has chosen. It seems like she's king-making and using Lucasfilm money to find fresh talent that's going to reshape and redefine the business. Unfortunately, her experiment seems to have failed, as 4 of her directors were either replaced or let go of. Or did it fail? One director besides J.J. Abrams remains standing. Not only did he remain standing, but Disney announced something huge. During a shareholder conference in November, Disney executives needed to prove to investors that they are going to exceed expectations for the next quarter. So they announced that Rian Johnson is signed to write and direct a brand new Star Wars trilogy. This seems like the kind of thing Disney would only announce if they knew this film was going to break box office records. So who the hell is Rian Johnson? And how did he get a chance to direct the most important middle act of the Star Wars trilogy?
No hunger can overcome him. No woman can seduce him.
Sorry, babe. I'll call you sometime. For he is
The Origami Master.
While doing some deep research, I found something really interesting. In 1992, a writing contest was held across the entire state of California. It was the 8th annual California Young Playwrights Contest, where 130 writers submitted their work for a chance to have their play professionally staged for a live audience at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. One of 4 winning plays was written by a young Rian Johnson. His play was a satire about teen society called The Unwall, and it might have been the precursor to his first feature-length film, Brick. But this isn't anything new, right? An aspiring filmmaker armed with a video camera breaks into Hollywood? So what? Often these directors remain as one-trick ponies that can't reproduce their success when backed with a bigger budget. So what makes Rian Johnson different? He's not a one-trick pony. He's a skilled director that can work in any genre, and even a better writer. To take it a step further, Rian Johnson is so much more than your average writer or director. He's a genre bender.
You know when you're breaking the rules. You both know. And
does it make it harder to break the rules? Because there's expectations that might come with a genre.
Well, it's always a risk, but but it's a fun risk, you know.
And he demonstrated this mastery of genre bending right from the start. Johnson self-produced an unusual blend of two genres, a teen drama crossed with film noir. It had all the elements that made it noir, but it wasn't noir. It had all the elements that made it a teen drama, but it wasn't a teen drama. In an interview with No Film School, Johnson says, "Let's do a straight detective story, but let's set it in an environment where the audience can't lean on their preconception of the genre at all." Genre bending was his biggest challenge, and it worked. The end result was divisive, and for Johnson, that's exactly what he wanted.
I would be worried if everybody across the board was like, yeah, that was a good movie. It's much more exciting to me when you get, a group of people who are like coming up to you and really, really excited about it, and it's going to be something that they're having their DVD collection and watch over. And the way that I got into Miller's Crossing, maybe, I don't know. But and then there are other people who walk out literally saying that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Having those two extremes to me is the mark of the type of movie that I want to make. So,
at Sundance, Brick won the Special Jury Prize for Originality of Vision. In the history of the Sundance Festival, only 2 films have won this award. Trevor Groth at Sundance writes this: Johnson displays a complete understanding of cinematic language, paying homage to the classics but also creating his own style. He also writes, Brick is a directorial debut of extraordinary promise. Johnson's next film, The Brothers Bloom, was completely different. Armed with a bigger budget, Johnson breaks the mold once again. This film, an unusual blend of 2 genres. A movie about con men meets a romance film. When was the last time you've seen a movie about con men and romance combined as one? The result was fun and playful, and also a complete marketing disaster. He created something so different that Hollywood couldn't figure out how to pitch it to audiences. But how could you pitch this film? There's a con, but it's not about the con. There's a romance, but it's not about the romance. Hollywood failed to pitch this film, and ticket sales suffered. Despite low ticket sales, it went on to be a cult classic. It was adored by those who saw it. The style, the visuals, the acting, it was all there. The Brothers Bloom was a film that left many fans wondering, why doesn't anyone know about this? But let's take a look at one more of his films, Looper. And really, just this one scene. At first glance, it might not seem very interesting, but I think it's fascinating. By now, another director, like say J.J. Abrams, would have cut to a close-up, because directors like Abrams don't trust their actors to tell the story, so they rely on fast cuts and heavy editing to do it for them. Take a look at Rian Johnson's IMDb page. He only directs films that he writes. The only exception to this rule is TV, and in the world of TV, he directed 3 crucial episodes for the hit TV series Breaking Bad. Interestingly, he directed the highest rated episode of the series, Ozymandias, and the most controversial episode, Fly. Again, Rian Johnson proves that he would rather have people love his films or hate them. Awesome. And it's Johnson's strong work ethic and attention to detail is what gives the producers the confidence to work with him. He leaves no room for error, whereas other directors might do things a little differently.
In general, what I tried to do is prep as little specifics as possible in terms of shots. So I wanted to be able to go to the set and make things up as I went along and sort of, wing it.
Johnson doesn't seem like the kind of guy to wing it. He seems like a meticulous planner. He seems like the kind of director that already sees the movie shot by shot in his head way before anyone else does. And everything he does as a director is merely a way to transfer that movie from his head and into a theater.
And I turned up the heat, and the walls began to close in, and I felt...
Of all the things that Johnson has produced, I think this humble little music video truly shows off what he's capable of.
Out into the street.
Everything you're seeing is live and in camera. That means he filmed several layers of this music video, all without a computer, and synced it up perfectly.
And the world, in its cold way, started coming alive.
On top of that, he filmed this in his apartment with the band in just 2 days. That requires a level of skill and patience and planning that is just downright masterful. During production, Mark Hamill tweeted a picture of the script for The Last Jedi. In another tweet, writer-producer Adam Horowitz says, "The most impressive part of this is you're only on blue pages. It's standard practice to change the color of the script depending on how many revisions that has gone through. Every script starts off as white, and the color of this script is blue, which means it's only been revised once. To me, one revision means no producer rewrites, no focus group rewrites, just the original vision that Rian Johnson had when he wrote the script."
And I have to say, in watching him on the set of Episode 8, and I don't say this about many people, I think Rian moves the camera as well as Steven Spielberg. So you guys are in for a real treat.
Our lone artist, Rian Johnson, is out there with something to prove. He's going to push the Star Wars universe to its limits, and people are either going to love this film or hate it, and I think that's great. And I think the actors under his directing will do it 1,000 times better than J.J. Abrams ever could, with a script that's deeper and richer than anything that a design-by-committee writing team could ever create. Johnson's going to show us a level of artistry that we haven't seen in decades, breaking box office records and forcing studios to question their business model, and giving hope to young aspiring artists all around the world. He'll do it 1,000 times better than J.J. Abrams, and I bet even Lucasfilm quietly knows this. Film schools around the world will study this film and this moment as a shift in American cinema. I'm excited for a future in which studios can trust their artists again. I'm excited to see a future in which artists are praised for their craft instead of just ticket sales. I'm excited to see what this film inspires. And most of all, I'm excited to see Star Wars: The Last Jedi.